All right, guys, today we're talking about probably the most overlooked piece of maintenance on any motorcycle out there. Like I said, probably the most overlooked piece of maintenance on any motorcycle is the brake fluid. It attracts moisture, it's recommended replaced every couple of years, and it's pretty simple procedure to get it done. Now, my bike is a non-ABS bike. If you add ABS to the mix, that adds a whole different procedure, and you'll probably need to look that up in a manual. But this is non-ABS. It's pretty simple. All we're doing is essentially replacing the fluid. So here we go. First things first. This is your rear brake master cylinder. This is your front brake master cylinder. In there is stored your brake fluid. You're going to need a couple of tools to do this job. You're going to need a Phillips screwdriver. That's to take the lids off of your reservoirs. You're going to need some way to get the old fluid out. So a couple ways you can do this. I personally use an air bleeder to do that. And the first thing I'm going to do is pull off the lid, and I'm going to suck out all the fluid, and then I'm going to clean the reservoir. Then I'm going to go to the back to the caliper here, and I'm going to bleed it out. You will need a 3/8 wrench that fits your bleeder right here. But the basic idea is to take all the fluid out of the reservoir, fill it up with new fluid, and then flush the fluid through the line, through the caliper, until you have brand new fluid in the entire system. Lock it down and do the exact same thing for the front. Like I said, first things first. Take my Phillips screwdriver, remove the cap here. Pretty simple, pretty easy. Two screws, and there we go. Now you have your open reservoir. Right there's the fluid, and we're going to suck all of that out using this. Then we're going to wipe it all out. Then we're going to fill it up with new fluid. My bike takes .5. So look in your owner's manual, your repair manual, and see what fluid your bike takes. And be sure and use the correct fluid in there. Anyway, let's get this sucked out, cleaned out, and then we'll go down here and we'll flush the fluid through. Alright, so as I said before, there are a few different ways that you can get the fluid out of there. If you don't have air power, you can get a manual like Mighty Vac that you can pump up and suck that out, because you just need vacuum. The other way to do it is just take paper towels and put them in there and let them soak up the fluid till it's empty, clean it out, then refill it that way. Those are the three ways I know of. I personally like the air way, and I have the capability, so that's the way I do it. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to suck out that reservoir. If you'll notice, there is a little rubber piece. This actually slides right onto the bleeder, so I'm going to take that off so that I can just use the hose to suck that out. But I'll use this later when I'm back there bleeding the caliper, because I'll break the caliper loose, pop this on, and it'll allow me to suck the fluid right out of there. Anyway, let's get her cleaned out, and then we'll go from there. Alright, just like that, the reservoir is all empty. No more fluid in there. So I'm going to clean that all out, and then we'll flush the brakes. Alright, if you actually flush your brakes every couple of years, there's not going to be a whole lot of cleaning that needs to be done in your reservoirs, because see how clean the fluid is? You can see that it's nice and clean in there, because I change it all the time. I will tell you this. Last year I was in the Eureka Springs area on my bike, and I've been riding all day. If you're familiar with Eureka Springs, lots of mountains, lots of curves, and so on. And so I've been riding all day, and I pulled into Eureka Springs going down the main drag, and I hit my rear brake, and I had no rear brake. I literally, of course, when that happens, you want to pump your brake, and then you'll get your rear brake. But what had happened was I had boiled my brake fluid. Got air in the system, and I didn't have rear brakes, so pumping it up allowed me to use my rear brake. And then when I got to the switchback, I actually replaced the fluid right there in the garage. It's not a hard job, but I didn't want to ride the rest of the time without brakes, so I just I bled the brakes out there, put new fluid in, and continued on my merry little way. But that is just some of the things that can happen if you don't replace your brake fluid. So replace your brake fluid frequently, every couple of years. Even though I replace mine all the time, I do ride a lot. So sometimes things happen. But anyway, let's fill this back up with fluid. Then we're going to go back here and bleed it off. All right, so when bleeding your brakes, there's a couple of ways that you can do it. You can do the old way, like used to do at the dealership, also with Dad in the garage, right? You pump up the brake, and then you brake the bleeder, you let the brake pedal go all the way down, you tighten the bleeder up, and then you do it again. So you can just take a normal little hose, get you a piece of vacuum hose, get you a container, and you can do it that way. You can gravity bleed it. So you can just crack open the bleeder and you can just let it basically bleed itself. Or the third way is the vacuum bleeder, which is the way that I'm going to do it today. So I'm going to hook my vacuum bleeder to it, and we're going to watch the fluid go down here and keep filling it up till we're satisfied that enough fluids ran through there that it's all brand new fluid, and then we'll go from there. Remember I said I had the little piece, the adapter, because that will go right on here. Just snaps into place. You probably can't see it from there. Let's move you a little closer. See how it just snaps over the end of the bleeder. So when I break this open, it can suck out the fluid. Gonna get noisy in here again. It doesn't take long for my compressor to need to kick on. Just like that, the brake's flush. I'll make sure that the reservoir is full, put the cap back on, and we're ready to roll. Alright, so your cap is rubber all the way around. You don't have to put this on super tight. So don't go cranking it down really hard. You'll actually end up with a leak. Alright guys, that's it. The brake fluid for the rear has been changed. You're going to repeat the same thing for the front. You're going to remove the reservoir, you're going to go up, bleed it out, and continue on your merry little way. That is it. You've just changed the brake fluid on your motorcycle. Now, as I've said before, I'm not a professional. I do this for me at my house, and I'm not trained by anybody. So my advice would be to get a manual, watch some other videos on this, and then decide if you feel like you're ready to tackle this. It is a pretty simple, easy job, but yeah, you have to decide if this is something you want to take on. Thanks for watching today. If you enjoyed this video, want to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button. You can ring the bell icon if you want to be notified every time I upload something. I don't even know if that works anymore. But anyway, last but not least, have yourself a great day. And remember, it's not about the destination. It's all about the ride. We'll see you next time.